Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to episode 33 of Monorail Memoirs. Today we'll be discussing which are our favourite Walt Disney World mountains, and we'll rank them accordingly. Disclaimer to start with, I know Splash Mountain is not a mountain anymore, but we're going to pretend it is for the purpose of this conversation. As always, Lauren, how are you?
I'm great, thank you. Got both children to bed on time, so I'm winning.
Excellent, good for you. I assume that's an achievement. We will start with our new segment, which is a new segment that I've come up with, which I think this is hilarious because you genuinely don't know what the questions are. They're all Disney related, don't worry. So this week's question is a would you rather. They're all going to be would you rathers, but would you rather be stuck on It's a Small World for 2 hours or Rise of the Resistance for 2 hours?
Oh.
And why?
Rise.
Why?
I think I would honestly just go stir crazy on It's a Small World. Imagine for 2 hours just seeing them little puppets.
That'd be great. Does your answer change if Rise of the Resistance has got the lights on? So there's no immersion. It's just you're just sat in a box in a room.
No, because it's different.
Okay.
Like it's quite a long ride for the type of ride that it is.
Yeah, but you're stuck on it, as in you're not moving.
Oh.
You are stuck on the ride for 2 hours.
I thought you meant you were just doing a continuous loop.
No. You are stuck on the ride. It's not moving. The ride vehicle has broken. 2 hours.
I think it would have to be Rise because I could not cope with the song.
Constantly. Yeah, I think It's a Small World will drive you crazy after a little while. For what it's worth, I agree. I think sitting on Rise for 2 hours, even if the lights were on, would be better. Well, there you are. That's the first entry into our Would You Rather segment. Now, however, we'll get into the mainstay of things. So today we're going to be discussing. This is a picture of Lauren that I found earlier that we're going to be covering shortly during the episode, because you can imagine it's pretty easy. But today we're going to be discussing the Disney World mountains, and we're going to rank them. We'll save our ranking for the end, but we'll go through the four of them, which is Space Mountain, what's now Tiana's Bayou Adventure, was Splash Mountain, Big Thunder, and Expedition Everest. So starting then with Space Mountain. So a little bit of background to this. 1975 is when it came out. It's a dark coaster. There's absolutely zero storyline to this whatsoever. It's kind of jerky, if we're honest. It throws you around a little bit. It's not as smooth as things could be. I mean, it is 50 years old. Because of the darkness, you think you're going faster than you actually are, I will say. But the music is iconic. I think it's extremely re-rideable. You can just keep going on it as many times as you want. And it's not quite as long of a queue as it used to be. Your thoughts, Lauren, then, for Space Mountain?
Yeah, so I think that it is a bit, as you say, jerky. I know that a few people who we've been with before, who've previously had a bad back, now very much have a bad back after.
Yeah, I think it solves your bad back, doesn't it?
So yeah, it can be a little bit jerky. I find the experience, even though the car is only quite small, the experience is very different from the front and the back. Yeah. So I think that, I mean, I understand on sort of Thunder Mountain, it's such a big kind of train that you'd expect that. But because in Space Mountain, it's not a massive kind of ride vehicle, you wouldn't expect such a different. What am I trying to say? Such a different experience. But yeah, I feel like definitely at the front, it's very lackluster because you're already halfway down the hill before you then catapulted down it, and just little bits like that.
I do think out of the four that we're talking about, it's probably also the least accessible in terms of getting in and out of it, because it's down, it's quite small, it is quite narrow. So if you're built on the bigger side, it's difficult. It's quite narrow, especially I find if you're in the front, because your legs are like wrapped up around your ankle.
Yeah, so I'm difficult. 5'7", and kind of like a medium build, and even I feel a little bit kind of squished in. So I couldn't imagine, like a 6-foot man, for example, trying to get in there. It's crazy, isn't it?
It is. But I do think there's a lot of nostalgia around Space Mountain. And I do think, the episode that came out a few weeks ago for the draft, where you picked it over Tron, which of course makes perfect sense. I'm still so disappointed with myself for making that decision, but I do think it is classic. I think it holds up well now. But I've always said if Space Mountain was made today, it would look like Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind. That's what it would look like, along with the ride system, because I think Cosmic Rewind is just so far and away. It really is the evolution of 50 years worth of roller coaster technology.
Yeah, I totally agree. And it's a little bit like Guardians, in the fact that, it doesn't really have a story. I know that Guardians is meant to have a little bit of a story, but it isn't. It can just be any overlay over a pretty cool ride. And I think that, controversially, I think I would have preferred them to revamp Space Mountain rather than make a new ride in Epcot. But that's my controversial opinion.
Yeah, no, I understand that. But I would say if they're going to do that, because of the way the Disney Corporation now works, they're going to slap some IP on it, and it wouldn't be Space Mountain anymore. Look at the Space Mountain in Paris.
Yeah, true. Yeah, it goes to Hyperspace Mountain.
It's a whole different ride, and I don't know if last time that you were there, if it still had the Star Wars overlay, but they used to have a Star Wars overlay on it as well.
Yeah.
And so it just ends up getting stuck as an IP, whereas Space Mountain is independent, and I like that independence.
Yeah, and it's that nostalgic, as you say, that nostalgic aspect. Because it is such an old ride, the majority of people that are riding it now have ridden it before, when they were younger. And yeah, I definitely think that holds a place in my heart, with it being quite nostalgic as well.
I agree. Let's move on, though, and we're staying in Magic Kingdom, and we're moving through to, this is a photo of Splash Mountain. I am aware the ride is no longer Splash Mountain. It is now Tiana's Bayou Adventure. I get it. What I will say, though, is Tiana's Bayou Adventure was a replacement for Splash Mountain for a couple of reasons. Splash Mountain has clearly, evidently not been kept high on the maintenance list for a couple of years. It was evident that they were wanting to sort of phase it out. Song of the South is the film that Splash Mountain was based on. I am not here to run social commentary, but some people would say that it has poor connotations with America's past, and moving away from that is a good idea. And Tiana's Bayou Adventure is clearly a money-grabbing exercise to piggyback off Princess and the Frog. So I do think that the story now is probably a little bit better. The animatronics are pretty good. It's a great ride to do when it's hot. My goodness, it's, when you actually do get wet, it is pretty good. But it is the exact same ride layout. The drops are the same. The pacing is the same. The musical energy is quite good, but I still, for me at least, hold a strong piece of nostalgia towards Splash Mountain.
Yeah, so I've not actually done Tiana's Bayou Adventure.
Oh.
So I've only ever done Splash Mountain because it was still in construction the last time that we were there. I have seen kind of like some videos on it and stuff like that. And I think the overarching thing that I get from people is, as you say, they've just slapped IP over an existing ride. They've not kind of been innovative or anything like that. And for me, Splash Mountain, you used to get absolutely soaked. You had to bring your clothes out soaked.
Yeah.
So Harley River Rapids level of soaked. You would get absolutely drenched. Whereas now, sometimes you can just come off with a light spattering. I don't know if it's the same now with it being Tiana's Bayou Adventure as it was. I think it probably is.
Yeah.
But there used to be massive cannons that would throw water at you. So when you go around the first sort of corner, as you're watching all the other cars kind of drop down, there used to be this cannon of water that would spray over the whole boat, and they don't have that anymore.
No, I know. It's the water ride people are getting too wet on. It's baffling. And in July, it's great, but in January, maybe less so. I understand why they moved away from Splash Mountain. I understand why Tiana needed some form of representation, because Princess and the Frog, quite a popular film. I don't think Frontierland thematically makes sense for it, but then again, we could do a whole episode on whether or not Disney theming in Magic Kingdom especially even counts for anything anymore. But yes, I think as far as it goes, I will always do it. I will always go out of my way to do it. But Is it going to be top of this list? I doubt it somehow. We'll stay in Frontierland, though. We'll stay in Frontierland and we'll move through to Big Thunder Mountain. So Big Thunder Mountain is a railroad-themed ride at the wildest ride in the wilderness. For anyone who's not been, they might think I've just gone crazy for 4 seconds, but I promise you that is relevant. Look, it's not too intense. It's very repeatable. You've got a good few sort of old school effects like the falling rocks and the Batcave, and I get it. Currently, however, it is undergoing an update and it will not be open until some point next year. I think that's going to be really key because whilst, yes, it has a really good, it's got a really good queue, it's got really good rideability, it's not too intense. When you see it compared to other attractions, and I know I'm going to keep referencing Cosmic Rewind, but it is so far and away, you can see the age on this. And so whilst it is good, I do think that it's best actually at night because the nighttime experience you get is fantastic. It's a little bit different. As mentioned, there's some Disney concept art on the screen now because it's going through a bit of an update and it's possibly going to bring it in line more with what you get over in Disneyland. But for me, Big Thunder Mountain is a must-do every time.
Oh, absolutely. Without giving too much away, I absolutely love this ride. And when it is shut, I'm gutted. I think one of the main downsides is it shuts for weather. And in Florida, you're going to get weather, especially in those summer months, in the hurricane seasons and all that sort of stuff. And it is really sad when it shuts for weather. I understand it. It's outside. It's probably something to do with a metal track and it being quite big and all that sort of stuff. I get it. But it's really sad because I love it. And especially at nighttime, as you say, when the fireworks are on, it's one of the best rides to do when the fireworks are on.
The one of the things that I don't like about it, though, and yes, you can ask to rectify this, but is the inconsistency in experience from the front to the back.
Absolutely.
Because the back is, I remember many years ago, you said the back's quicker than the front. I said, well, that's not possible, Lauren, because otherwise the back would overtake the front.
We had such a debate over this because I was like, it is faster in the back. And you were like, it isn't because it would overtake the front if it was faster in the back.
The argument you were making is that over the points at which you begin your descent, at that point you're traveling faster.
Yeah.
That is true. But because the difference in experience in the front and the back, okay, if you've got small children, maybe toward the front, absolutely. If you want the view, being able to look past the sort of train cart itself. But for me, the back is where it's at, and I will ask and willingly wait longer to use the back.
Definitely. Some people really want the front, as you say, they want the views. But for me, it's quite lackluster at the front because, as I say, it's the same kind of in Space Mountain, but even more so here. You're halfway down the hill before you even start to get any sort of speed up. Whereas at the back, you're kind of coming up the brow of the hill. So it really kind of catapults you forward and through. Whereas at the front, you're already down at the bottom of the hill anyway. So you don't get that funny tummy feeling. And everything that I like from a ride, really.
No, that's fair. That is fair. And so for that reason, being at the back is better. I think I may have mentioned on this podcast before, the advice if you have kidney stones is to go and sit at the back of Big Thunder Mountain. And this is, honestly, Google this, look it up. It is a cheap way of trying to dislodge kidney stones. So go in Disney, just keep riding Big Thunder Mountain. It's going to hurt, but it'll be worth it in the end. That is not medical advice, by the way. Don't come after me. This is just things I've heard on the internet.
Don't sue him. So one downside that I kind of think about Big Thunder, well, it might be a downside, it might be a bit more of a thrill aspect, because it's just one lap bar with you and your partner. If you're with someone significantly bigger than yourself, you are going to move a heck of a lot. And when I was a kid, I remember going on with my cousin, who is about 6 years older than me, but he's quite tall. He's almost 6 foot. He isn't 6 foot because he's 5'11", but he's almost 6 foot. And so the lap bar on him came down to his thighs, and for me, there was quite a significant gap. And so when we had our arms up, I was just being flung about, I bashed him into the side a few times, his ribs absolutely killed. I mean, for me, it was a hilarious ride because I was just being thrown about left, right, and centre. But for him, it was less comfortable.
Well, speaking of rides that have got slightly more comfort, and I don't know if that's an appropriate segue or not, but I'm trying it. The final one that we're looking at today is the only mountain not in Magic Kingdom. We're going to Animal Kingdom, and we're talking about Expedition Everest. I would argue, to start with, this queue is the best out of the lot of them. Wandering around, seeing the materials of the Sherpas, the history of the Yeti, fantastic. The real mythology and almost like a village atmosphere that you get from it, I think is great. The ride experience itself, of course, is quite roller coaster-esque with you getting up to the end of the broken tracks and then going backwards. I will, however, give now my disappointment. So the photo that I used of you to start with is the Yeti. This Yeti has been broken longer than the ride's been open, I think now.
Yeah, definitely.
And knowing that it's there and knowing that it isn't being repaired, and I hear conversations about it being structural integrity of the building means that you can't mess with it or what have you, fine. I just think that Disney is missing out on what could improve the immersion and the thrill aspects if this Yeti would just work.
Yeah, I know. And I remember a few years ago at D23, Joe Roddy said, I will make that Yeti work. Where is it?
Yeah, but hasn't Joe already retired?
Exactly.
Right, okay.
That's my point. Like, he's retired now, and he said, I'm going to make this Yeti work. This Yeti ain't working. Disco Yeti is here, and it's probably here to stay.
Yeah. I'll be honest, it's a little bit of a disappointment. If you didn't know about it, you probably wouldn't really care.
You wouldn't have a clue. I mean, I think even though it is broken, they do make a good job of making some sort of motion out of it with the flashing lights. I think that it does give that illusion that there's something going on, not that it's just a broken animatronic there. And as you say, if you weren't kind of an OG, like an original part, when you were going when the ride first opened, I don't think you would really know that it was meant to move.
No, probably not. And actually, I've got to give them some sort of credit because, as I said, the theming and immersion of the queue is possibly top 3 in Disney.
Definitely.
Fantastic. And so it gets some points from me for that.
Another point that it gets from me is the single rider queue. And I know that you don't get all of the exciting queue bits, but when there's a single rider queue, that's an instant tick in my box. Because, if you are obviously a group of adults and the ride wait is sort of an hour, maybe even more so in the really, really peak seasons, you can get on single rider in 5 minutes. So if it's just the thrill of the ride that you want, single rider's perfect. And they don't have many of those in Disney.
No, they do not. But let's bring it to a conclusion then. We'll give our rankings. We'll go 4, 3, 2, 1. I will let you start with what's in 4th place for you.
Yes, I kind of feel a bit bad doing this, but because it's the same ride with just a different overlay, I know I've not ridden this new ride yet, but Tiana's Bayou Adventure for me. I'm also, it sounds really weird, but I'm not a fan of getting wet either. Like if I'm in a water park and I'm dressed for the occasion, fair enough. But I just can't bother with soggy pants.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, I like it because it's got some nostalgia for me in the sense that the track ride itself is the same. But you're right. I have Tiana's Bayou Adventure ranked as number 4. I don't think it's giving anything new to the journey. And if I'm honest, I will do it, but I'm not bothered about redoing it every time. And I think that says something in itself.
Yeah.
If we move through to number 3, then what is 3rd on your list?
So, 3rd on my list is going to be Space Mountain. I know. I knew that would raise a couple of eyebrows. So the reason for that for me, as you say, is it's getting old. It's really showing its age. It's not the longest ride in the world. Sometimes you can wait quite a while and you're only on it for sort of, I don't know what the actual ride length is, but maybe a minute or so. And it's nostalgic. I love the music, but it's just a bit rickety and old now.
Interesting, because my third comes with an asterisk. My third is Big Thunder Mountain, and let's see how the updates go.
Yeah.
Because I am willing to say the Big Thunder Mountain in Disneyland, which has had an update more recently, is better than the one in Walt Disney World. And so for me, it is third because, again, you get the difference in experience in the front and the back. I do think the queue is too long on average for what it's worth, around the 50-minute mark. I think that's quite a lot. You've mentioned that it closes pretty frequently as well. So I'm in two minds about it. So for me, Big Thunder is third, but asterisk, let's see how the changes go. It won't take a genius then to assume your second one is Everest.
No.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
So yeah, I think, as you say, I do love the ride. It's very nostalgic to me. I think it was probably one of the first roller coasters, if you would, that I've ever been on, because we were going there as children, and as you say, it's a fairly safe roller coaster. It's not getting any loop-the-loops, and it's not massively crazy, but it's thrilling enough. So yeah, I absolutely love it, and that soundtrack in the queue, it just plays rent-free in my head.
That's fair. I mean, my number two is Everest for all the reasons we've discussed about the theming is brilliant. I think the minus points come from knowing the Yeti isn't quite what it was, but the queues are a lot shorter than they used to be as well, which I think is a huge win. So my number two is Everest. Now through to the winners then. So for your winner, Expedition Everest, give us a précis as to why you think it is the best mountain in Walt Disney World.
I just don't know why it would not be the best mountain. The queue is amazing. It's not that long, to be honest, for the type of ride that it is. It can be quite a good wait time. Again, single rider, that always gets a massive tick in my book. Even the theming of the ride, the music, kind of as you're going through, it really immerses you in kind of where you're meant to be in the Himalayas and all that sort of stuff. I love how it goes backwards. And just the drop as well. So I'm big on thrill drops. I love a drop ride. And that big drop as you pass the Yeti is just so thrilling to me. I absolutely love it. It's definitely my favourite.
And I understand, and for the reasons you've mentioned, that's why it's my number two. And number one for me is still Space Mountain. There's a nostalgia piece to it. I think as well, it gets some points for being in very close proximity to the Carousel of Progress. Like the aura of the carousel just bumps up Space Mountain's worth slightly. I do accept it is getting old. I do, but I think there's nostalgia plays a huge part in this. To summarize then, in reverse order. So, Lauren, your number 4 was Splash Mountain, 3 was Space Mountain, 2 was Big Thunder, 1 was Everest. Mine, again, agreeing, Splash Mountain in 4th, or Tiana's Bayou Adventure, as it's now called. Big Thunder 3rd, 2nd Everest, 1st is Space Mountain. As always, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us this week. There isn't a ticker across the bottom, but you know what to do. We point at it anyway. Please like, subscribe, etc., etc. If you have any questions, let us know. As always, thank you very much for attending this week, and please stand clear of the doors. Bye, everybody.